David and Goliath. David was the youngest of 8 brothers, a shepherd in Bethlehem, and while his brothers fought in King Saul's army, David tended his father's sheep. One day, his father, Jesse, sent him to the battlefield to check on his brothers and bring them food. The Israelites were fighting the Philistines, but they were paralyzed with fear when they saw Goliath, the giant champion of the Philistines. Goliath stood over 9 feet tall, wore a coat of bronze armor, and carried a huge spear. For 40 days, he taunted the Israelite army, challenging them to send a warrior to fight him in single combat. When David arrived and heard Goliath's insults, he was furious. "Who is this man that he dares defy the armies of the living God?" he asked. His brothers scolded him for speaking out, but David's words reached King Saul. Saul summoned him to the palace, where David said, "I'll fight this Philistine. I've killed lions and bears to protect my sheep. The same God who delivered me from them will deliver me from this giant." Saul, doubting David's ability, offered his own armor, but David declined, saying it was too heavy. Instead, he chose 5 smooth stones from a stream and took his sling. With only his sling and his faith in God, David approached Goliath. The giant mocked him, but David boldly replied, "You come at me with sword and spear. But I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, whom you have defied. This day, the Lord will deliver you into my hands." David placed a stone in his sling, swung it, and let it fly. The stone struck Goliath in the forehead, and with a crash, the giant fell to the ground. David ran to him, took Goliath's sword, and cut off his head. The Philistine army, seeing their champion defeated, turned and fled in fear. The Israelites pursued them and won a great victory. David's faith and courage had saved Israel. His victory over Goliath was a turning point, and his name became known throughout the land. It was not David's strength, but his trust in God, that had won the battle. However, King Saul became jealous of David's success, setting the stage for future challenges. Despite the trials ahead, David would rise to become one of Israel's greatest kings, leaving behind a legacy of faith and leadership that would inspire generations.